I'll continue with the student success update. Members of the CLC team attended the Dream 2019 conference last week. It was a great immersion in learning and a team building experience around student success. And at this time, I'd like to invite comments from Vice Chair Catherine Finger and Nick Branson and Jenny Staven, who can share their reflections about their experience with the board.
Great, thank you. There we are, a picture. And maybe I'll just start with the picture. We really had an amazing time of unity and teamwork together. I have to say thank you so much to the CLC staff team. It was really an extraordinary opportunity for me as a board member to just watch kind of the beauty of awareness grow together. As for all, I think almost all of us, it was their first experience with the Achieve the Dream Foundation and Network. And it's really amazing to be able to see the entire framework and hear other schools across the country talk about their successes over time, and to realize that this really is a powerful framework for student success for us to leverage moving forward, and for all of us to kind of get that excitement generated and more awareness over time was quite extraordinary. It was also very inspirational to hear about other district successes, both in our small groups and in the larger group sessions, and I'm sure some of our colleagues will share in a moment the wonderfully inspirational students. You could not walk away from a student moment without tears in your eyes. And it really served for me to kind of give you that, not that I need it, I love CLC and I love our work together, but just another sense of the importance of our work for the mission of a community college. It was just extraordinary. I also want to just give a little bit of kudos to Dr. Lori Suddick. It was quite apparent, and you probably noticed this as well, she was kind of a rock star in that setting. She really is in her element, and she serves nationally as a coach for many other schools that are in the Achieve the Dream Network, as well as some other school and student success-oriented groups, and we saw that on the ground, so that was exciting, and Lori would never say that because she's very humble, but that was a nice aspect to it as well. So thank you for allowing me to be the board representative. I missed the fun in DC, but I got every single moment and more with our staff and national colleagues at this conference, so I'm very excited. Thank you.
Thank you. Jenny.
So for those who don't know, I'm Jenny Stamen. I'm an English faculty member here and faculty coordinator of the Writing Center. And I was part of a group of 9 faculty and staff, including Dr. here, that went to this conference. And many people wanted to be here but couldn't because they're teaching or working. So we are kind of representing them tonight. So first of all, I agree it was a really inspiring conference to go to. I go to a lot of conferences in my field, but this was something different. And to be at a conference that was solely focused on student success and was really, really amazing. And so all of us were, I think, on overload when we came back. And so when I knew I had to come say a few words, I was like, okay, pick 3 things. So, and so here are 3 things that stood out to me. The first one, and I think the most amazing one, was the Dream Scholars. So ATD picks through a process 8 scholars to represent institutions that are in achieving the dream. And before each plenary session, 2 of the new scholars that have been selected did I am from poems, which if you don't know is kind of you say I am from and then you provide information over and over. And the first one had all of us at the table crying, and then the second one did too. So that was each session, plenary session began with that, so it was pretty amazing. And a number of us went to a session called Courageous Conversations that involved the Dream Scholars from 2018 and 2017 on a panel where we were able to ask them any questions we wanted about their experiences, about their advice for us as faculty and staff. And the conversations were really amazing. I really appreciated, I went to a number of workshops that focused on specific actions I could take as a faculty member. Ryan Echeverria and I went to a pre-conference workshop on something called TILT, which is Transparency in Learning and Teaching. It's basically an assignment framework, a way for making things more explicit for your students. And Ryan, even by the end of the workshop, was thinking about ways he could use it in advising. So I went home with ways to tilt all my assignments. I also went to a session that explored the use of different metacognitive thinking routines, so something that I kind of knew about, but I got some more ideas. And I think the thing that I really appreciated though was there were a lot of sessions that really tackled big picture issues. We went to Thursday morning plenary that really tackled issues of equity. We heard from a person that I had read a lot of, Sarah Goldberg-Robb, who's done a lot of work with housing and food insecurity and the situation of students, and the president of Amarillo College, Russell Lowry Hart, talk a lot about ways to meet students' needs outside the classroom. And there were many quotes that I wrote down, but one that flashed across the screen that really struck me was, colleges that learn how to meet the needs of their students both in and outside of the classroom will be the only colleges that are successful in the future. So, Jesse Morales from Adult Ed and I attended a session about immigration issues in higher ed and came back with a big folder full of information. I did not know that there was a community college consortium for immigrant education, and I do now. So, and the question that we all took away from that was, what can we do to create a welcoming climate for immigrant students? And then finally at the lunch plenary, the speaker was Jesse Stommel, but he was quoting from an article that he and Sarah Goldberg-Robb wrote. And he spoke specifically about teaching issues, and that was something I think a lot about. And he said, we need to design our pedagogical approaches for the students we have, not the students we wish we had. This requires approaches that are responsive, inclusive, adaptive, challenging, and compassionate. And it requires institutions find more creative ways to support teachers and prepare them for the work of teaching. This is not a theoretical exercise, it's a practical one. And I think that's true not only of teachers, but staff and administrators as well. So those were the 3 things that I took away.
So I'm Nick Branson from Institutional Effectiveness, for those who don't know me, and also got to be on this wonderful team. Just wanted to also say thanks to Dr. Suddick and the board for initiating this opportunity to join this network, and to have a team at this learning experience was really helpful. We had a lot of time to kind of debrief and discuss the ideas that we were learning together, and it also was great to just make connections with other colleges in the network. So a couple key takeaways just to kind of add on to what Jenny already mentioned. It was a really great conference to see really student-centered focus, and I think a lot of organizations may say that, but you could really see Achieving the Dream living that out through the Dream Scholars and even through the other presentations that they gave. So one of the sort of big takeaways and themes from the conference was really serving the whole students that we have, and really thinking carefully about how we redesign our own processes and policies to meet those students rather than have the students try to follow our processes that we've created without their needs really in mind. So that's something that we really took away from the experience. Also serving all of the students' needs, so not just their educational needs, but if we really want to make a difference in their lives and in our communities, that we need to serve their needs socially as well as educationally, their housing and food issues, all kinds of different challenges they may face. It was great to hear from other colleges kind of provide their expertise as well as really practical examples that we can use in our everyday work. So I know we all kind of walked away with a laundry list of things that we were like, oh, we want to try all these. But a couple other pieces that other folks who can't be here wanted me to share too. You know, it was great to be sort of the new kid on the block in that setting too, because there was a lot of learning that we could do from other colleges that had been in the network for a while. And I really valued how forthright and welcoming they were and supportive they were, and really told us a lot about their own experiences, both informally and through their presentations. A couple key takeaways we had from that was really to get the most out of Achieving the Dream and be the most successful with the initiatives you do through this network. Having the board and administrative support is a key element. So it was wonderful to have Dr. Suddick and Dr. Krieger and Dr. O'Brien all there with us as a team. And then another key piece, just to kind of making this successful, was not just to think about our procedures and policies, but also to do the real challenging work of culture at our institution and take our time to recommit ourselves to student success and refocus on students at the center of what we do.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you.
Thank you.
They said it all, I don't need to add more, and that concludes my report.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your report on Achieving the Dream. I'm glad we're part of this now, and I'm glad that we're taking advantage of our membership in Achieving the Dream. So thank you for all your work.